All right, so welcome guys to the 2021 Summer Coding Institute. This is our open house, and today we'll just be running through the basics of our program, and you guys can learn more about what to expect from ACSI this year. So let's talk about today's agenda first and foremost. In the first 5 minutes, we're going to be introducing ACSI. So we're going to talk about what ACSI is, what we've done so far, in addition to the programs that we're planning to host in the future. And we'll also talk about an overview of the Summer Coding Institute in the next 30 minutes. We'll introduce our team members, a program timeline, what we're going to do for the lecture program in addition to the competition program. We'll also cover how to apply and also answer your questions or any questions that you guys might have about this year's program. So let's move on to what ACSI is at a glance. So ACSI is a 501c nonprofit aimed at promoting research and innovation via mentorship in science and engineering competitions. So to date, we've hosted over 300 students in our programs in both our Science Fair Academy, in addition to our Summer Coding Institute. And we've had a lot of success at a lot of international level competitions, such as the Regeneron Science Talent Search, the International Science and Engineering Fair, and we've also had a lot of success in regional competitions, whether that's at the regional science fairs or also within AC zone competitions like last year's ACSI competition and also our mock fair. So what AC does is we generally provide a lot of personalized mentorship. So students can either work directly with mentors for science fair, learning both hard and soft skills, or we can also have them work with undergraduates, and the undergraduates kind of guide them through the process of finding research opportunities. We also have guest speakers who can kind of give a lot of information about one, publications, but also about their field of expertise. And we also try to answer any questions you guys have about science fair, artificial intelligence, or other coding applications. We also try to keep a good community in order to, on our Discord, in order to have students answer each other's questions, in addition to also having officers answer questions as well. So now we'll have Rifik talk about what we've done so far and just our traction up to this point.
Right, so exactly. So AC has had a track record of success, and we've been able to help mentor students and allow them to develop their passions and pursue projects that have allowed them to win a very prestigious awards. Like as you see here at the regional level, like the Dallas Regional Science Fair, the State Fair, as well as the international fairs like ISEF. Some other competitions that we've helped students, have a lot of success in include the AYSI competition, as well as the Regeneron Science Talent Search, as John mentioned.
So now moving on to the mission that our Summer Coding and Student Specific has. We aim to provide all the students who join our program an opportunity to explore not only a bunch of cutting edge topics in computer science, but actually work hands-on with those topics, and in the process learn how to build some really cool applications. And the way that we're going to do this is through three fundamental concepts. First, we're going to establish programming and AI fundamentals in our students through a series of lectures. Then we're going to engage with the real world applications of that computing by allowing our students to actually create projects with the techniques that they learn. And third, we'll be empowering students to solve new problems on their own with the skills that they've learned through our competition program, which we'll discuss later on in the presentation.
So let's talk about what you can do with what you learn in the program. Like we mentioned, you guys can take what you learn in the program, whether that's just the basic coding fundamentals if you're in junior division, or the artificial intelligence applications that you learn in the senior division, and you can implement these fundamentals into actual science fair projects. So our entire team has been working on science fair for probably a good chunk of the last decade. And we've competed a lot of these competitions in addition to having officers from previous years like Kevin or Andy, who are at university now. They've also been participating in science fair, and what they've always said and what we can also attest for is that science fair was a really big part of our high school careers. It was really fun. Before COVID, it was really great to get all these free trips, or I guess they're not always free, but get these trips to big competitions where you can meet a lot of new people, especially from a lot of new places, whether that's new cities or new countries even at the international level. And of course, it's a very big boost if you want to pursue big universities as well, whether that's studying computer science at a school like Stanford or MIT, or if you want to explore other opportunities as well. You just get a lot of scholarships, but also recognition from these competitions. I know one of our officers, Ole, he won 7th place at the Science Talent Search, and he got like 70 grand. And I think they also wrote like a Forbes article on him, which is amazing. And just based on last year, we had over 200 students in last year's version of the program, and we wrote over like 4,000 lines of code, and it was just a pretty good experience. I'm sure some of you guys were members last year, and we are just looking forward to another great program this year. Of course, you can also compete in a lot of programs like USACO, which is like the coding Olympiad. You do programming there, and there are also a lot of conferences you guys can attend outside of science fair. These are like PhD level conferences, even get a lot of experience from there and meet a lot of new people in the field of interest that you have. So let's move on to the next slide here. We can introduce our team. First and foremost, I'm John. I'm a rising undergraduate at Harvard University, probably studying econ and doing some CS stuff. And I'll pass the mic over to Rachel.
Hi guys, my name is Rachel Malman. I'm a rising senior at Plano West Senior High School. And for the past few years, I've been competing in plant sciences. And this year I will serve as the marketing chair, as well as giving some lectures in the junior division. Now I will.
Let's actually introduce also, let's introduce Ole and Arnold. Also, they couldn't make it, they're out of town, but Ole is going to go to Yale, and he has done amazing in science. He's one of our lecturers also this year, is the co-chair of the program alongside me. Arnold is also studying CS, and he will also be helping us out this year.
Hey guys, I'm Aditya. I'm currently a rising senior at Plano West Senior High School. In the past couple of years, a lot of my science fair projects have dealt with machine learning. So I'm going to be helping out with the senior division part of AYSI this year.
Yeah, Charles, he has debate today actually, but he's also a rising senior at Plano West, and he will be helping out a lot with our marketing, but also junior division. So Rifik, do you want to introduce yourself now?
Yeah, sorry, I was muted. So my name is Rithvik. I'm a junior at Plano West currently, and for the past few years, I've competed in the computational biology category at various fairs.
Noah is at a wedding right now, but he's also a rising freshman at UT, and he's studying, I believe, biology or BME. And Govardhan, do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Hi, I'm Govardhan. I'm a rising freshman at Johns Hopkins University. John and I have actually been partners in science fair for the past like 6 years, and I am the logistics chair for AYSI.
Yeah, awesome. So we'll also introduce some of our undergraduates who helped out with organizing our fair this year. We have Kevin. Kevin's a freshman at MIT. So is Andy. They're both studying CS. Derek is at Caltech studying CS, and Yunji is studying computer engineering at Columbia. And these 4 were part of our program last year, running everything behind the scenes, and now we've kind of taken over for this year. So we'll also introduce our senior lecturer team. So one change that we're actually incorporating this year is we're trying to have more undergraduates teach the senior division, which I think will help, give a better teaching experience, because of course they're learning the material that you're learning in the camp at their universities. But also we are trying to create a better division of experience as well. So to introduce, we have Kevin again. He's at MIT studying CS. Derek, and we have Rhythm, who was also a lecturer last year. He'll be returning this year. He goes to Stanford studying CS. And we also have Julia, Kabir, Max, Inji, Aman, and Brandon. And they are here to teach you guys more about artificial intelligence. And even maybe if you guys want, you can ask some questions about how to pursue careers in CS. A lot of these individuals have already pursued software engineering roles at big FANG companies like Facebook or Amazon, and they can give you a lot of tips on how to get to that stage as well if you guys want to talk to them. So now let's talk about our program timeline here. Govardhan, if you want to just kind of run through the dates.
Yeah, sure. So the registration window for AYSI opened on April 5th, and it closes on May 29th. So you guys have about another month to register if you're interested. The training portion is going to go from June 14th to July 9th. This is where your senior lecturers or your AYSI lecturers will actually be teaching you the content, the coding content, that is. And then July 12th to July 28th, you're going to have a capstone project where you're going to be developing some kind of coding project. And then you'll actually compete with one another from July 28th through July 30th for some prizes. So stay tuned for that.
All right, so this is basically our teaching structure, and that's going to be through 3 main points. So we're going to teach, we're going to have teaching will be our lectures. We're going to have, like John said, we're going to try and get undergraduates for our senior division, and then we'll also have lectures for our junior division. And then through these lectures, we're going to be having lots of content that students will be able to, we're going to have like homework sessions essentially. And these this homework is meant to help students to really understand what these lectures are about and ask any questions that they may have through Discord. That's what we're going to be using as our platform for any questions students may have. And lastly, as Go mentioned, we're going to challenge our students with the homework and then also the capstone project at the end, which will result in the competition. And like I mentioned, students will be able to ask questions through Discord. One thing to know is that this program is run entirely remotely. So this will be done through Zoom, and classes will be held on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And office hours are just going to be by appointment. You can contact us through the email or through Discord. Either will work. And like I mentioned, Zoom will be used for our lectures, and students will be able to ask questions through there as well.
Right. So for our junior division, a lot of it is going to be focused again on just learning the fundamentals and the basic ideas behind programming that are going to help these students get to the level where they can now code their own applications using things like MIT App Inventor and other block coding interfaces. They're also going to learn a bit about like smartphone application design and how to implement their own ideas through these different platforms, as well as introduce them to the beginnings of artificial intelligence and machine learning for future projects. And again, here you'll see a little bit of our design schedule for the lecture program over 4 weeks that will help lead them into their capstone project. As you can see here, some of the big ones are, the MIT App Inventor. Most of it is going to be focused on MIT App Inventor. We'll also be teaching them things like cloud and local storage, device control, sensors, and then basics of artificial intelligence at the end. Right, so sorry about that. This is just a sample lecture and how the lectures will essentially be set up for the students. We'll start off again with content, teaching them the basics, in this case of behind artificial intelligence, and then we'll go through and walk them through how to code an actual app, applying the principles that they learned in the lecture. We'll test the app, and then we'll also work with the students and discuss what we've used in the app in the actual lecture process itself. And there'll be time for Q&A at the end if the student needs help.
So now moving on to our senior division overview. So the senior division is intended for students who already know a little bit about the fundamentals of coding and really want to enhance their knowledge by learning about more complicated topics such as Android Studio and artificial intelligence and machine learning. So that's what you can see here. Our senior division is going to focus on artificial intelligence and machine learning, Python packages and various different libraries for artificial intelligence, and actually integrating these artificial intelligence models into real world applications through Android Studio. Here you can see just a quick schematic of over the same 4-week period how our senior division lectures are going to work. It's going to start off with just a simple crash course to Python, which is the main language we'll be using in the senior division, then dive into an introduction to artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning, going through a lot of the major model types such as classification models and regression models, and then talking about various different more advanced topics like computer vision, temporal modeling, and generative models. And then at the end, we'll have a couple of bonus lectures for our senior division students that'll talk about actually integrating models with Android Studio, Qiskit cloud computing, which is some basic quantum computing topics, and React Native for actually creating apps. And this is a sample lecture design for one of our senior division lectures. So for example, in this one, you can see this is about computer vision. In our computer vision lecture, we introduce what convolutional neural networks are, which is the main type of model we use. We then dive into actual image classification and a demonstration of how these convolutional neural networks work. We then have a conclusion and discussion section where we talk about everything that we discussed before in the lecture, as well as how the topics that the students have now learned can actually be implemented in the real world. And at the end, we have a homework assignment where students actually have to create a CNN to do a certain task based on the skills that they learned and the demonstration that they saw, which reinforces the entire teach, demonstrate, and practice schematic that we have throughout our program.
Right, and just to kind of clarify a difference from last year, we're also going to kind of move on to Google Classroom, which I'm sure a lot of you guys use at your own schools to keep track of all the homework assignments. So you guys will just be able to kind of submit your homework on Google Classroom. We'll have our team review everything, and you'll be able to get specialized feedback on all of the homework. And if you guys need extra help, you guys can also come to office hours where our TAs can answer any questions about what you need to review, or just ask general questions about the program itself. We actually have a few TAs on the program here right now. If you guys just want to say hi, we have William and Raghav. We actually have like 30 other TAs, but we didn't force them to come here today. But if you guys want to just unmute yourselves and say hi, that'd be cool as well. Or you don't have to.
Hi, my name is William. I am a rising senior at Plano West, and I love doing machine learning and biology. So, yeah.
Hey y'all, I'm Raghav. I'm going to be a junior at Plano West next year. I've done science fair a lot, and I'm really excited for this summer.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, guys. So let's move on to the competition program, which Addy can explain again.
Sorry about that. So moving on to our competition program, as Go discussed earlier, I believe, with our program timeline, what we have is this lecture program at the beginning, which sort of teaches students all of these various different computer science concepts, and then a competition program where they actually develop their own app from scratch and compete with each other to see who can develop the best app over our couple of weeks period for a couple of different prizes. So we have three main stages in our competition program. The first is the research stage at the very beginning, where students will go out and find a problem that they care about and want to solve using the computer science skills they've learned. Our second stage is then coding, which takes up the majority of the time, which is where students will actually develop a solution from scratch using the skills that they've learned to solve that specific problem. And the third stage, which is presenting, which is where they will actually showcase the app that they've been able to design to a panel of different judges and compete for various different prizes. Students will be assigned to teams if they don't choose to be on a team, and our assignment will be based on an application form that we'll send out. And that's pretty much it for our competition program. Moving on to our final competition. So this is what I was talking about earlier, where students will actually compete for prizes. We will have each team give a presentation over Zoom to a panel of highly experienced judges that we have. And each of these presentations will have a 7-minute presentation with a 3-minute Q&A session at the end. The prizes will be awarded to teams based on the International Science and Engineering Fair rubric, which gives different weightages to different sections, as you can see on the slide. And then we will have multiple winners for first, second, and third prizes in the junior division and the senior division, as well as a total of $2,000+ in prizes across all divisions.
All right, so we're reaching the end of the presentation here. So the next step after this open house, if you're interested in joining our program this year, is to actually register for the program. I'm sure a lot of you guys have already started registering, but if you haven't, you just have to go on this form here. It's also on our website under the join section. It's just titled, I think, register form or registration form or something like that. And you guys just have to fill this out, and we'll be able to tabulate all your responses and start sending out decisions within the next week or so. And we do have a non-refundable application fee of $10, but that actually is credited towards your tuition. So you just end up paying $70 afterwards once you're accepted into the program. And that is, we'll send out additional details about how to pay for the program after we make all the decisions. So we do have a regular application deadline that is next Friday, so April 30th. And if you apply by then, the tuition will be $80. If you apply afterwards, we will actually end up charging a $20 late fee, mostly because we want to get as many applications before April 30th as possible, mostly because we have AP testing and stuff that we want to kind of, I guess, separate for the month of May for our students and also for officers. So if you guys want to join the program, we highly recommend you sign up within just the next week or so. Perhaps even just this weekend would be best. And we'll start sending results as soon as possible about your applications. Now let's move on to the referral program. We do have a referral program, and you can find the details on our website here. This link is actually for the Science Fair Academy, but it still applies to the Summer Coding Institute this summer. If you refer a friend, you'll get $20 off your tuition, and we also have no limit as to how many students you can refer. So you can basically refer up to 4 people, and now your tuition is free for the program. And you can find more details at this link, like I mentioned. And also, if you would like to request financial aid, all you have to do is mark that on the registration form, which is on the link on this slide. And we'll start contacting you, and you can also contact us directly if you have any questions. But we will ask for some documentation about whether or not you're on reduced lunch, and it's all private, just between our officers. And you guys can just do that, and we'll make sure that you guys can join the program free of charge. So that's just something you have to do on the application if it applies to you. Now that kind of reaches the end of our presentation here. You guys can find us at our website, aysi.org, our Instagram, AC_DFW, if you guys want to give us a follow there. And if you have any questions, we are always available at ac.officers@gmail.com. We'd also like to thank our sponsors for helping us run this program this year, and also sponsoring some of our prizes for the program. And if you guys have any questions at this point, we'd be more than happy to answer them. We are also actually just going to run through some of the questions that you guys put on the form first. But if you have any questions that aren't on the form or that we don't cover, just feel free to leave them in the chat or unmute yourself and ask away. So let's start getting to the Q&A now. Rachel, do you want to kind of start with that?
Yeah, so the first question is, how long is this camp and which grade is this for? So John, if you go back to the competition program, the timeline. All right, so you can see the registration is currently open. It'll be open until May 29th. And this program will run continuously till July 30th. And as far as the grades, like we said, we have a junior and senior division. So that's kind of just like based on where you feel like your level of coding really is. There's no like specific grade for each division. Aditya, if you want to answer some of the questions too, you can start that.
Yeah, so the next question is, does this program accept international applicants? We are more than happy to accept any international applicants. The one thing to keep in mind is that our lectures will be designed for US Central Date Time, or Central Standard Time. So you might have to attend a lecture at an odd time of day, but our lectures will be recorded. So if you're unable to attend our lectures, you can always just view the recording after the fact. But we do accept all international applicants. The next question was about our curriculum. So it said, just interested in the curriculum, how deep do we go with it, and what hands-on things do we do? So as far as what our curriculum covers, we talked about this earlier on the slides. If John, you could really quickly flip over to the slides where we discussed our junior and senior division curriculum. Yes. So as you can see, for our junior division, we're sort of just introducing people to the fundamental concepts of coding. We're talking about simple things like drawing and animation, functions, some basic algorithms, JSON, cloud and local storage, Internet of Things. And at the end, sort of diving into the very, very basics of the slightly more advanced topic of artificial intelligence. For our senior division, John, if you could just scroll over to that slide. For our senior division, it starts off with just a Python crash course, since that is the main language we use throughout the senior division. And then we discuss a lot of various different models that have to do with artificial intelligence, as well as a short bonus lecture at the end where we will discuss the beginnings of quantum computing using Qiskit. We also have a couple of bonus lectures on Android Studio and React Native, which will actually teach you how to integrate your machine learning algorithms into an actual application. As far as how deep do we go with the curriculum, for our machine learning curriculum especially, we don't go to the level where we're discussing like every single mathematical concept behind a certain model. But if you do want to ask your lecturer about that as a question, then you're more than free to do that. In our actual lectures, though, we don't go to that level, but we do go to a deep enough level where our students can get a basic understanding of what's going on sort of behind the scenes with these machine learning models. And they are able to code these models from scratch and actually develop these models in their own coding. As for the hands-on things that we do, after every single lecture, the students will have a homework assignment where they can actually implement all the concepts that they learned throughout the lecture. And then at the end, as we've discussed throughout the presentation, we do have the competition program, which will allow students to take all the knowledge that they've learned throughout the lectures and then put it all together into one single app that they develop completely from scratch to solve any problem they could possibly want to. So yeah, that's our
So I also have a question. So on the senior division, I'm in the 7th grade and I did the junior division last year. and I also got an award because of that. So even though I'm in the 7th grade, can I do senior division this year?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
We don't have any grade requirements for our division, so if you feel that you remember enough of what you did in junior division last year and you have a strong enough sort of grasp over the fundamental concepts of computer science, then by all means you should shoot for the senior division.
So it doesn't matter even if I'm young, right?
It does not matter at all. We
Okay.
do not take grade into account when it comes to choosing division.
We actually encourage you, if you were in junior division last year, to try your hand out with senior division this year, and just kind of see where you can do it or where you can go with that.
And this sort of also ties into one of the other questions that somebody submitted through the forum. It asked what the prerequisite is for joining the senior division. The only prerequisite is that you have a basic understanding of the Python programming language, which is not that difficult to understand. And once you sign up, we will actually be providing you with a lot of different resources to help you get accustomed to the Python programming language. And beyond that, the only other prerequisite is that you feel you have a strong enough understanding of these sort of fundamental concepts of computer science that we talk about in our junior division, which is the things that we discussed on our lecture curriculum slides in this presentation. So if you feel like you have a strong enough understanding of those concepts and you feel that you can either learn the basics of or already know the basics of the Python programming language, then those are the only things you need to head into our senior division.
Right, and just to reiterate what Addy said about the resources, we'll be emailing you guys like a list of Python resources, but also we'll probably also make some bonus lectures, maybe like 1 or 2, just to kind of like guide you guys through what you guys should be studying before the program starts in early June. And we'll also actually give you guys like a hacker rank to test your knowledge. And it'll have like different problems you can solve. We'll also have like this Jupyter notebook where you can run through we'll basically have like problems, and we'll give you like a key. You can see how many you can solve and kind of gauge your understanding from there. But at the end of the day, if you do want to challenge yourself with senior division, we really just encourage it highly, and we won't deter you from doing it if that's what you want to do.
Okay, so I guess moving on to the next question that we had in this document, somebody asked how similar will the competition program be to the competition program that we held last year? And there, I believe, was another person who asked how similar our curriculum will be to the curriculum that we had last year. So addressing the competition program, it will follow the same general structure, with a couple of different, with a couple of weeks for you to work on researching your problem, developing your solution, and actually developing a presentation for your solution. And then our actual competition days, where we have you present your solution to a panel of judges, will be the same as well. And just like last year, it's also all held virtually this year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We don't want to risk anybody getting sick. The only difference that I can think of is that I believe this year we're actually extending the amount of time that you have to present. I believe last year it was a 5 or 4 minute presentation. This year you'll actually have 7 minutes to present, and then a separate 3 minutes of question and answer at the end. So total of 10 minutes of presentation time.
Right, just to add on just a little, we are also planning on giving a lot more prizes this year as a difference. I think we might end up bumping this number, I think I'm not sure what it was last year actually, but we have a ton of special awards that we're planning on giving out from a lot of our new sponsors for the summer. So there's also that to look forward to if you want to join our program.
And then for the curriculum part of that question, what's different in our curriculum? We have actually added a lot of new topics to our curriculum in the junior and senior division. In the junior division, we've gone through every single lecture and actually added a bit of content there. And we've added a couple of new lectures entirely to the junior division. And in the senior division, we've actually added a couple of new concepts entirely, such as last year, we never talked about quantum computing with Qiskit. That's an entirely new thing this year. Last year, I don't believe we spent all that much time on React Native, which we will be spending a couple of bonus lectures on this year. And last year, we also didn't talk about image processing in its own lecture, and we didn't talk about generative models, which are both topics that we'll be discussing in depth in this year's curriculum. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of new topics that are coming into this year's curriculum that weren't there in last year's curriculum. So if you were in a part of our camp last year, there's still a lot of incentive for you to join again this year and get a bit of information on those new topics. In addition, if you were a member of SCI last year and you decide to rejoin this year, we will be waiving your tuition. You can find that information on our website, so it doesn't cost you anything to attend either. So if you were part of our camp this last year, then I very, very highly recommend that you join our camp again this year.
Absolutely. And just to answer someone's question live here, for junior division, it is more or less the same as last year. With senior division, we decided to tweak some things based on feedback we got last year. But for junior division, it's more or less the same. We are probably going to actually add some more guest lectures for the junior division, mostly have like people who did science fair and did well. Mostly undergraduates kind of come in and talk to the younger students about what they can do starting in middle school or whatever grade they're into, kind of get to that stage in the future. But also, I think we're going to, we didn't mark this as new on here, but the intro to artificial intelligence, we're modifying this lecture to make it more, or to make it, I guess, easier as an intro to AI. We're going to focus slightly less on the Python, still introduce it, of course, but we're also going to do more activities on like Google's Teachable Machine, but also MIT App Inventor. You can do some basic AI stuff on MIT App Inventor, which we didn't do last year. So it is going to be more or less the same compared to last year, but we made some small tweaks here and there.
One question regarding the lectures for both junior and senior division, if you miss a lecture. So our lectures will be recorded and they'll be uploaded to our YouTube channel. And so if you ever miss one, feel free to just go to our YouTube channel and then you can view any lecture that you want to, or you can rewatch a lecture, even if you didn't miss it. So that's always available to you.
Right. Also, if you want a review of any topics, the recordings are a big help, of course, but also we're going to open up access to the recordings we had last year. So you guys can review any lectures you want to see from last year's program as well, if you guys want.
There was another set of questions on the questions that people submitted through our form for registering for this event about the logistics of our classes and our homework assignments. So the way that it's going to work is our lectures will be held on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of every single week for that 4-week period, adding up to a total of 12 regular lectures. We'll also have a couple of different special times in between where we will be talking about our bonus lecture topics, such as the quantum computing bonus lecture. So most of the lectures are Monday, Wednesday, Friday, with a couple of bonus lectures sprinkled in, on the Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays, and Saturdays. As for the way that our homework assignments work, so what happens is on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you have the lecture. And then at the end of that lecture, you are given a homework assignment that has to do with whatever concept you learned in that lecture. So you complete the homework assignment for that lecture the day after. We also have some office hours in between our lectures where students can just come in and talk about any issues that they're having with their homework or any problems that they had with the lecture that they want to re-understand. And we have the lecturer who was there at the original lecture there for the office hours to just walk students through any questions that they might have or any concepts that they might have forgotten from the lecture and need reintroduced to them.
Hey, John, can you put back up the Science Fair Academy, the registration link?
Yeah, sure. Let me click to that. And also, I think just to answer someone's question in chat, tuition is waived for camp attendees last year. We've already, if you used the code that we emailed you guys, make sure not to share that code with non-members. But if you use that code and just sign up with the code, we are able to see it on our sheets and we can just waive your tuition for you once we send out the decision. That'll probably be another code that we end up sending out on the platform we use to collect payments, which is to be determined. We might just end up keeping it simple and just having you guys PayPal us directly. But for that, yes, the tuition is waived for camp attendees last year. It's also waived if you're part of the Science Fair Academy from this year. And that's mostly because we want to make sure that everyone who was in our programs last year can once again come into our program this year without a problem and keep learning from AYSI. Also, we have like a lot of sponsorship from organizations. So financially, it's we just wanted to kind of give back to the AYSI members as much as we could.
There was another question that someone submitted through the form asking, what is the most important thing that students will learn in our program? So as far as just technical knowledge goes, I can't say that there's a single concept that is more important than all the other ones. There's sort of just a lot of different concepts that your student will be exposed to through our program in both the junior and senior division. But in general, if there's sort of a set of most important skills that they'll learn, there's of course the technical skill that they'll learn through our program when it comes to coding or machine learning or any of the other topics that we cover. But then our camp will also expose them to working with a team, in some cases a team of strangers that they've never really met before, which is a great way for them to improve their ability to work with a team and coordinate a pretty big project across a bunch of different team members. In addition, they'll also have a lot of experience presenting a science fair style project in a science fair style presentation to a panel of experienced judges, and then handling questions that those judges may have for their project. So overall, there are a lot of different skills that your student will learn through our program, both technical skills as well as softer skills like learning how to present, learning how to collaborate with others, and learning how to respond to questions.
Right, that's a great response, Eddie. But I also want to add one thing. I think those are really important skills if you want to end up competing in science fair. Even though this isn't officially the Science Fair Academy, I personally think that a lot of the skills you learn here, especially the hard skills with coding, you can take those and work on these really big projects that you can submit to these regional fairs. I know, I don't know if Ishan and Shrey are here. I think Ishan might be, but Ishan and Shrey are a great example. They went through a program last year and they were able to go through a camp and they ended up qualifying. They won first place in the state science fair, also first place at regionals, and they won runner-up to the Best in Show award at the Texas State Science Fair. So they also ended up qualifying for the International Science and Engineering Fair this year after going through a program last year. And they'll be competing in May at ISF to hopefully win thousands of dollars in prizes. So it's just a really good way to brush up on your technical skills. Of course, these are also skills you can use for the rest of your life, especially in the workplace. So it's really just, if you're young, it's a great place to start. And we hope you guys will join us this summer if you are interested in ACSci.
And just adding on to John's responses, beyond science fair, the skills that you learn here can also be used for a lot of different competitions like the United States Coding Olympiad and Code Forces and such. So basically, a lot of different STEM related competitions that you might experience after this camp. This camp will provide you an introduction to all the skills that you might need to compete in them. So beyond just science fair, for any other STEM related competitions as well, if you sign up for AYSI, then it's sure to help you become a stronger candidate for those competitions.
So I have one thing to say. So this isn't so much on the technical side, but I think all of us can agree that one of the most fun things about science fair is meeting new people and having these competitions as an opportunity to network. And by already being in this Zoom call, you're taking that first step towards meeting new people in the field of science fair. And once things start to return normal, you'll already know people at your local affiliate fair. And it's just a great way to get to know people and also practice presenting your project in front of other people. Those skills that Addie mentioned earlier that are going to transfer not only into your science fair career, but in whatever else you pursue in the future.
That's an excellent point. So even if you don't end up studying CS in college, like Govarn is studying biomedical engineering at Hopkins, you guys can still take what you learn here and really just apply it to just about any field. Like for one, even if you're studying something like econ, learning stuff like CS is very applicable, especially when you're trying to do like certain types of analyses or like find particular trends in data. It's just CS is like kind of like almost like a binding force, you could say, among many different disciplines. So even if you don't ever want to enter like a software engineering or a tech job or something, you want to do something else, it's still like a skill that'll probably come in handy in the future. So we just really recommend, even if you don't come to SCI this summer, to brush up on your coding this summer, one way or another, and just kind of learn the skills as much as you can.
Okay, there was one question that I believe we have not addressed yet from the one submitted on the form, and that was how much time is expected for the projects. I'm assuming they mean the capstone projects, which will be presented at our competition program. So for the time expected for those, if you could flip back to the competition program timeline, John, or the general program timeline, sorry. Yes. So here, as you can see, the time to work on your projects is between July 12th and July 28th, which means you have that entire period to do whatever you want with your project. There isn't like a specific set time that we require from you guys. Like, we're not going to tell you, hey, work on your project like 5 hours this week or have this, and this deadlines to complete for your project. Instead, it's sort of just self-driven. So you choose a problem that you want to solve, you design a solution to that, and as long as you're able to code your solution fully and develop the presentation for it by July 28th. That's the only thing that we require.
Right, and just to add on one last thing, if you are out of town this summer, say you're on a family vacation or just something comes up, one thing that the virtual format really helps with is you can always look at the lectures that are going to be recorded on our website. Actually, we'll probably end up putting them on a Google Doc, but you can access them through our Discord under one of the channels. And you guys can also, of course, if you end up not being able to make, say, the competition program, that's no problem. Just let us know in advance, and we will work something out. What we might also do is if you just can't pitch on that particular day, we'll have you like send a recording or something when you're free, so you can still compete in the program and compete for prizes. So we're really flexible because, of course, it is a virtual program again this year, which has its own pros and cons. I think ideally by the fall we can do some in-person stuff, but if you guys just want to participate, yeah, we'd definitely love to have you this year.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's all the questions we had from the forum.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're just about finished.
Okay.
I guess just to reiterate, because we got the time a lot, which I think we might need to add on the website to clarify. But the lessons like last year will be from 3 to 5 p.m. Central Daylight Savings Time. That is tentative. We might end up changing that based on if people are busy at the time. But for now, it is 3 to 5 p.m. Like it was last year. And we'll also have office hours based on appointment, most likely on the weekends, once or twice a month. And you guys can show up to those as well. If you guys are mostly, if you have all your questions answered, you guys are free to go, and just hope you guys have a great weekend, rest of your weekend. And if you do have questions, we'll probably stick around for a few more minutes until around 4, and we can just chat. But again, thank you guys for coming to this year's program. We're really excited to kick off our second ever Summer Coding Institute. And we hope to see a lot of you guys, a lot of the same faces this year with our Summer Coding Institute. So thank you guys again for your time, and please let us know if there's anything we can do.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Hi, I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
So I'm like filling out the application right now, and I'm looking where it says CS/AI mentorship program, which is MCF students. I was part of the Mark Cuban Foundation, but I don't know, would I choose that or would I choose like?
Let's see. Yeah, you can go ahead and pick that. I think that's just mostly for our own information. One thing we also might do for MCF students actually is pair you guys up with undergraduate mentors. We did that on a smaller scale earlier this year. And I think that's how we got your information actually from that application. But yeah, go ahead and choose that. That's would be best. And you guys, again, also have your tuition waived. So let us know if you have any like problems with the code or if there's like another thing that pops up. But yeah, you can just feel free to pick that option on the form.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, no problem. All right, so I think someone said something in the chat here. Just thank you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording here.